Hi, everyone. I'm here today with Jamil Rivers, and she's in charge of MetaViver research and support. She's actually the president. She's taken a few minutes during our virtual gala to tell you a little bit about what makes MetaViver so special, and how does MetaViver separate themselves from other breast cancer organizations.
Well, I think if you think about just the breast cancer landscape in general, right? For a long time, the methodology has been let's find it early. Let's find it early. Let's nuke it. Let's treat it. Let's screen for it. Let's find it and then deal with it so that it never has to become metastatic, right? Because metastatic breast cancer is the breast cancer you die from. You don't die from breast cancer in the breast. So for a long time, we've just been thinking, let's nuke it, let's find it as early as possible. And that's where a lot of the emphasis and treatment and focus and research has gone into, right? But now we know that even with everything being perfect with breast cancer treatment, if you're an earlier stager, you have a 35% chance of becoming metastatic regardless, right? You could actually be metastatic when you're diagnosed and they're just not aware of it, because of how small sometimes having these cancer tumors being within your bloodstream even. And so I think now we're learning that we have to kind of shift our original thinking and how we've been operating for the past 40 years and learn from research. And so MetaViber is different because it's focusing on all of its research dollars go to metastatic breast cancer research.
I
So
actually heard that. I heard 100% of the funds go directly to research.
that is correct.
That's an incredible statistic. Can you please say that again? Because that is something people who donate to charities like this, they want to know that their dollars are going directly to where it goes. So please, let's restate. I can't say that any
Yeah.
stronger. That's important. Say that again.
One, yeah, 100% of all donations go to metastatic breast cancer research projects. And so we are very transparent. We, account for every dollar that comes in into our software. We're audited very extensively. We track all of our projects in accordance to the guidelines. And, check us out on Charity Navigator. We're really transparent and we make sure that all of our contributions, our fundraising is documented within our financial statements. And we ensure that all of our funding, 100% goes to metastatic breast cancer research, all of our donations.
Well, could you explain maybe your grant review process
Oh,
and
sure.
what type of research that you fund?
So annually, we do have a RFA process where researchers can apply to two types of opportunities. One for some of the earlier careers and some of the ones that are a bit more seasoned. And so usually sometimes we'll have a particular priority that we're focused on and we'll share that out. But for the most part, they have to be research projects that are focused on metastatic breast cancer. And
Wow.
what's
What are some of these examples of research? What are some, do you know some of these
Oh,
types
yeah.
that are being funded?
So now, if you think about liver metastasis, right, and having that growth, being able to target some of the proteins that are expressed with that particular cancer or mutation in order to stop, that cancer from growing or moving and thriving within the body. And it's less invasive than chemotherapy. We also have some great projects where they're focusing on developing targeted therapies for triple negative, which there really isn't too many options right now. And so really trying to expand what we understand in the tumor microenvironment where we don't have to have a, bull in the China store, right? Where we're
Yeah.
using chemotherapy and it's hitting, cancer cells and healthy cells. We can actually hone in and target like a laser, specifically what is making that cancer go and grow all over the body.
You are not only the president, but you are quite the scientist.
Yeah, it's like,
I
hmm
see. Let me ask you another thing, because I thought it was kind of interesting as I'm reading. I'm reading more and more about it as I learn for this virtual gala that we're putting on.
hmm
How much would you say MetaViver has funded through the year? Do you have a number? That's a crazy number,
Um,
but I wanted to hear it.
I actually have to look that up, but I know it's substantial. But if you think about how we've grown in the past, over 10 years, We're now getting to the point where in 1 year alone, we're awarding up to 5 million in research
Wow.
projects. So, I mean,
Wow.
the fact that we are a volunteer organization, we only have 2 actual paid employees, and that, you know, we're able to grow just from an idea of some metastatic patients that came up with this idea and saw that there was such a deficiency in this area. You know, where we've grown to this point, it's really extraordinary. And, you know, I think that in order for it to be equitable across the board and for us to really make the strides that we need to stop the deaths from breast cancer, we have to up our funding for research across the board anyway. But for metastatic breast cancer, increase it so that it's at least 50% of all breast cancer research funding.
And that's why we're doing this. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we're raising money, and it's so important. And as you can see, to everybody who's watching the broadcast, this is why it's so important. And I want to thank Jamil Rivers for coming on and talking about this in such an eloquent and scientific way as well.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh Draco, and I'm an attending medical oncologist and breast cancer specialist at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. I had the privilege of being supported by a Mediviver Early Career Investigator Award for research I'm conducting on the relationship between the intestinal microbiome and the efficacy or toxicity of immunotherapy in metastatic triple-negative breast cancer. The research would not be taking place without the support of this grant, and I'm incredibly grateful to those who made it possible. I've been particularly impressed by the role that advocates play in the Mediviver organization, and I've had the opportunity to meet some absolutely amazing people throughout my time as a Mediviver grantee. I think the support for patient-driven research is really admirable, and I'm very much looking forward to what's to come in the future. Thanks again to everybody for doing what you do. It's very much appreciated.
Hello, my name is Barbara Fingleton, and I'm a researcher at Vanderbilt University in Nashville, Tennessee. My lab has been working in metastatic breast cancer research for many years now. We are trying to understand how and why metastasis occurs, and we also work on developing new therapeutic approaches. This past year, we've been really grateful to have received funding from Mediviver for a new project in the lab. This funding came through the Orlando Metzgerade and is in memory of Destiny Rivera and Stephanie Sunday. The project that we're working on is testing whether the immune system is similarly active in men and women with metastatic breast cancer. This is an important question since so many new therapies are targeted towards immune activation, and we want to know that these new therapies will work equally well in men and women. I would really like to thank you all for the tireless work you do in raising funds for research. We in the lab are so impressed by your commitment and your passion. We promise to do as much as we can to match that and do the best we can. Thank you.